Here it is, the 1994 Renault Twingo. The people mover of Paris, one of the cheapest cars you could buy in Western Europe at the time, and just an absolute delight. One of the most charming cars I've ever had the pleasure of owning. I'd like to give you a little tour. Start here at the front, move our way back, show you, well, what makes this car so cheap, first of all, but also what makes it so charming. I think there's no better place to start than right here. This is what got me when I first saw the car. These headlights. I've seen a lot of cars with headlights that are just functional, headlights that look fierce, you know, like they got fangs and they're gonna bite. Not so with the Twingo though. These headlights say, hello, where do you want to go? Hope you're having a nice day. Of course, we've got a hood scoop here. Not for the engine, God no. This is just to get you fresh air in the cabin. And of course, one oversized windshield wiper. So you're gonna buy this car, it's gonna be cheap, and they're gonna save you money down the road. All right, let me bring you in a little closer. We'll talk about the engine. Look at this hood pop. Okay, so I'll admit, I'm actually not much of an engine buff. I don't know a lot about them, but I do have a couple things to say about this one because I do find it special. So when Renault was coming out with the Twingo, they did have plans to put a, modern, at the time, 1990s engine in there, but the timeline wasn't really working out, and they wanted to release this car. So what they ended up doing was jamming an engine from the 1960s, or at least it can root itself back in the 1960s, in this tiny compartment. So what you get with that is an engine that creates 55 horsepower. Yeah, might not sound like a whole lot, but to carry around an eggplant, you don't really need much more. And an engine that I find I won't exactly say that this car is reliable, but I will say when something breaks, it's really easy to fix. There just isn't a lot here. It's just an engine. So I've had a lot of fun trying to figure out, how this works and how to fix things. And I'd say if you're interested in that sort of things with cars, the Twingo is a really good place to start. Now, I think the biggest charms of this car, though, come in the cabin. So why don't I move again? We'll take a look inside, and I'll show you where this car really shines. All right, welcome inside. Let me give you a quick tour of the dashboard and cabin here, because I think this is where a lot of the charm and fun of this car starts. I'm sure you already noticed these seats. This perfect crossover between a Cup from the 1990s and a bus station. I love these little mint details on many parts of the car. I love that. There's a secondary contrast to the purple. But this is where the cost cutting also really comes into play. There's no glove box. You just get kind of a glove hole. There's no cup holders at all. I just kind of jammed some water in there and hope for the best. No power windows, but come on. Nobody was going to expect that. No AC either, but I mean, yeah, it's the cheapest car. These are pretty normal things. Now, as far as things I kind of expected but didn't really get, it would have been nice to get airbags. They weren't even an option on this model. So you just buckle up and you keep it safe, Be alert. The driving experience, though, I think is a real joy. This is no power steering, so you're gonna feel everything. You're going to move this car's wheels. For me, I think that's a lot of fun. You get 55 horses, you get a manual, and when you're going in a roundabout, this little eggplant, it's exhilarating, it's fun. So you just get to go around the city and have fun driving. Now, I'll admit something though. I'm not much of a commuter. I do take the bus and I bike. So if I had to drive this car every day, maybe it would be a different story. I understand why people like their creature comforts. But for me, I love this thing. It's like a glorified purple lawnmower. And it just brings me a lot of joy. But I think I gotta show you probably the most useful trick of this car. So let's go into the back. So this car can actually seat 4 people comfortably. It blew my mind, but they took every effort to make sure it was possible. And back here, you've still got trunk space. Pretty nice. You can fit a me back here while you fit 4 other people in the car. It's pretty convenient. But the one trick that this car has, I've never seen on another car, and I just use it all the time. There's just a little latch right underneath the seats here. And if you pull it, you suddenly get all this extra space. Now, that is of course at the expense of whoever's in these seats' leg room. But it's so much easier than just throwing the seats over or anything. Suddenly you can put a whole box back here, no problem. You overloaded on groceries? Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I found this car even really useful as well as being adorable. And these cars right now, you can get them so cheap. If you're thinking about getting a car and you live in Europe, I mean, I don't know what you want to do in America. If you want to import this thing, go ahead and try, be my guest. But if you live here in Europe and you're in need of a car, I absolutely recommend one of these. They're a joy, and they're really easy to fix if you're into that sort of thing. Anyway, yeah, I love my car. It's a bit of an econo box, a bit of a mess, but it's my mess, so yeah. Thanks. Oh, here it is. The 1994 Renault Twingo. The people mover of Paris. And one of the cheapest cars you could buy in Europe at the time. I've absolutely fallen in love with this car. And I don't have any more words than that for some reason.